Hello, I'm Chris Scher, Communications Director of the Society of Broadcast Engineers, and welcome to the May 2026 SBE WEBxtra, the SBE chapter of the web. This is a monthly SBE meeting usually posted on the third Monday of the month. The SBE is the Association for Broadcast and Multimedia Technology Professionals, with more than 4,000 members, mostly in the U.S., but also around the world. The SBE continues its efforts to attract young talent to the technical side of broadcasting and media production. And today I talked to people at Carmel High School in Carmel, Indiana, which is part of the Indianapolis Metro, about the broadcast and media efforts at the school. I think you'll be impressed. But first, I have the SBE member update for May 18, 2026. More webinars by SBE have been added to the calendar. Cooling Your Transmitter site, presented by John Marcon, will stream on May 21st. This webinar discusses a real-life transmitter cooling scenario and how it's maintained. It includes the installation of a new 25-ton unit. Also, you can always access the entire library of webinars by SBE presentations on demand. For more information on this one and all the webinars, go to sbe.org/webinars. Each year, the Ennis Educational Foundation Trust offers scholarships to deserving candidates who aspire to a career in the technical aspects of broadcasting. Scholarship awards are used for tuition, room and board, or other text costs at post-secondary educational institutions, or for other technical training programs approved by the Scholarship Committee. Preference will be given to applicants who are SBE members. However, any individuals otherwise eligible, including graduating high school seniors, are encouraged to apply. There are 5 scholarships available. Submit your application by July 1st and get all the details at sbe.org/scholarship. The next certification exam opportunity is in June, but that application window is now closed. After that, the next chapter exam window is in August. Apply to take an exam at that time by June 15th. If you don't want to wait, or if a local chapter exam is not convenient for you or just not practical, private proctoring is available. 2025, by the way, marked the 50th anniversary of SBE certification, and to recognize the occasion, the SBE program of certification is challenging you to upgrade or obtain your certification through November 2026. Take the CERT challenge, and you will not only further your professional standing, you could win a great prize. The SBE also encourages chapters to hold a meeting to discuss the benefits of SBE certification, and this is called CERT Connect. You can get all those details on both at sbe.org/CertConnect. And more information on SBE certification overall is online at sbe.org/certification. The SBE membership year runs April through March, and SBE members, your renewal was due April 1st. If you haven't renewed yet, please do so ASAP. Find the renewal link on the SBE website at the top of the page or under the drop-down menu on a mobile device. The annual SBE membership drive is in its final days. It ends May 31st. Recruit a new member during the drive, and you as the recruiter will be entered into a drawing for some great prizes, and you'll earn money off your 2027 dues. You can get all the details at sbe.org/drive and recruit someone today. And that is your SBE member update for May 18, 2026. So radio and TV stations continue to look for new talent, especially in the technical areas. The SBE WEBxtra has covered efforts to attract fresh faces before, and today we visit the topic again. This time, as I mentioned, we go to Carmel, Indiana, and Carmel High School. Carmel is in the Indianapolis Metro. The school has a broadcast and media program that has been in place for some time, and several alumni have moved on to careers in broadcasting. My guests today are Brandy, Ostijic, the CHTV advisor, and Alina, Kaplan, a student at Carmel High School, as well as Dominic James, the radio advisor and station manager for WHJE. We'll start on the video side. Welcome to the SBE WEBxtra, Brandy and Alina. I'm glad you could join me today. As I said in the opening, attracting younger faces into the technical side of broadcasting is one of our goals at the Society of Broadcast Engineers. And I realize your program has more than just technical side, but anybody we can get interested in all in broadcasting is a good thing. So Let's start out with the basics here, Brandy. You are the staff person here at Carmel High School. Give me a little bit about yourself, your background in media, and how you got involved in the program, and so on.
Sure. I've been teaching here for this is my seventh year, finishing up. And before that, I actually worked at the local Fox and CBS affiliate here in Indianapolis. So I was at Fox 59 and CBS 4 for almost 20 years. I worked in sales, promotions, news, and I left there as an executive producer of the morning show. Before that, I had also worked freelance for various companies. Indianapolis is huge for sports. So I freelanced for ESPN, IMS, the NCAA, all sorts of companies there. So kind of did a little of that and worked in news for a very long time and then decided it was time for something new. So then I moved to teaching.
I can understand a change that sometime comes along. So, well, that's great. You've got direct broadcast experience, which I'm sure translates well into shaping these young minds that you deal with every day. What about you, Alina? What was your interest in looking at some of the broadcast side of the industry that I'm involved in?
Yeah, well, we have called an eighth grade transition night for the high school. And so I came in here looking at what classes I wanted to take for high school in eighth grade. And I walked into the TV studio and I was like, whoa, this is something that I've never seen before. It's really cool. And I right away knew that I wanted to join, and I kind of felt a calling towards this almost. And so I joined freshman year, and there's a pathway for it at the high school here. And so I was in the introductory, and then started to gain some hands-on experience. And then I went into staff, became an anchor last year, and now this year I'm the current station manager.
Hmm.
And it's been really cool to have for all 4 years of my high school experience.
Excellent. That's great. So it's a 4-year high school, so they have a full 4 years. The students have a full 4 years to really get involved. Um, Tell me, you mentioned, Alina, you've done several jobs already. Is there a common path for the students to take? They start at, I'm assuming, some entry level and little by little build up some experience as well as perhaps their resume and move forward in the program?
Yeah, so freshman year, well, really you can join any year, but there's 4 years. And so the first year, like I said, it's more of an introductory. So we kind of learn history of television and media, like ethics side of things. And then the next year after that, we're kind of gaining hands-on experience. So I focused a lot on, I made a bunch of packages, big questions, interviews, all kinds of things like that. And then after that, you go into staff for 2 years. And so you get into the news class where we do our morning announcements. And so you get to learn all the tech behind how we produce those newscasts. And you kind of, it's pretty build your own. And so some people want to be more behind the scenes. I personally really enjoy the talent side of things. And so there's a whole process where I auditioned to be an anchor, and so I got that position. And
Great.
I really, really enjoyed that. And then after that year, I moved on to a management position, like I said. And so now I'm back a little bit more behind the scenes again, and I'm more overseeing the program.
Cool. So is everything you're doing sort of direct correlation to the coursework, or are there elements that are outside the standard, standard curriculum, if you will, of what you're doing? And not necessarily extra credit, but is everything by the book, or is it a little bit coursework as well as a little bit um, extracurricular? Maybe that's a good way to refer to it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say a lot of what goes on is happens outside of the classroom. So like I said, it's pretty build your own. So each like student here can kind of choose what area they're interested in, whether it's sports or talent, like I said, or more behind the scenes and producing certain videos. And so, like I said, we have newscasts. We run those every other day. We're on a block schedule, so it's every gold day in the morning. It's played to the school during our study halls, and those have like a bunch of different segments on them. And then we also broadcast a lot of sports that we have here at the high school. And so I've gotten involved in that, doing on-air things as well as behind the scenes. We also sometimes broadcast like more community-based things. We broadcast our graduation. We broadcasted this elementary school, a little biking. So we do a lot of stuff outside of school. I spent a lot of hours outside of the school in this building, but yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, I can imagine spending a lot of time. I worked in radio before I started working for the society, and I did college radio. I didn't do it in high school, but definitely my college radio experience, I spent a lot of time at that radio studio, probably more time than I should have been in the library or doing other things. But you do what you love, so you kind of get stuck into it and you really follow it. So, Brandy, is there sort of an overall mission with the broadcast, or maybe it has another media title, program at the school? What's the final goal here?
It's really just to kind of get our student population to be a little bit more newsy. We sprinkle in some hard news, some political stuff. So we're trying to just, kind of give them an unbiased view of what's happening in our community and in the world. You have to do it in small chunks because they are teenagers. So we also have a lot of fun stuff in our show. So we're just trying to kind of, and also we want to make our station kind of a spot where people can see themselves, see their friends, kind of see their high school. So I think it's like a kind of a community building aspect too, a little bit.
Sure.
A lot of people like to be on the, again, we have a segment called Big Question where we go around and just ask one question of like as many people as we can get. People really like to answer those. They like to be recognized for their athletic achievements. So I think it's kind of like holding up a mirror to those kids, and also, trying to educate them just a little bit with what's happening around the world.
So you've mentioned several different sort of packaged pieces here. Essentially the news, the daily school announcements, if you will. You're covering sporting events, you're covering some special events, community events, your question of the day. Is there more?
Yeah, so we on our shows, we have weather segment as well, where we go out and occasionally when we have like special weather events, we'll also cover those. We also, like I said, we have a sports segment and we also have an entertainment segment. So covering kind of popular culture and that sort of aspect of things.
Performing arts.
Yeah.
We are getting ready to record a fashion show in the gym for the fashion students. We recently did a dance recital for the dance students. We have a high school of almost 5,500 students. So we have a lot of activities and events. So we get asked to cover a lot. We also have a senior production class that regularly does client work for administration, for companies outside of us. So that's giving them even more professional hands-on work. So they kind of get a news year, and then we move to a production year for kind of the seniors or the people who have been in the program at least 3 years. And they do kind of more of that focus, professional, like I'm going to spend a lot of time on editing, or I'm going to make a half-hour show. So there is literally anything these kids can think of, they can do.
Wow. So there's a lot of hands-on, which is fantastic. How many students are currently enrolled in at least the television side of the program?
So we have about 80 kids on our staff, and that's second to fourth year. And then currently we have about 120 intro students that will be funneled either into TV, radio, yearbook, or newspaper if they decide to move on with our program. So our numbers are still growing, even though a lot of our print is dead and radio, everything's dead, but yeah, our programs are some of the most popular ones in the school.
Yeah.
We're easily the most visible in the school. So, yeah, we're growing all the time.
And how are these programs distributed? How do people watch?
Yeah, so we put on our live shows just through YouTube. They're live, like I said, every other day in our study halls. And so at the beginning of the class, all the teachers put them on the screens. And all the students that are in the study hall get to watch our shows every other day. And then anyone can watch our sports broadcasts. So yeah.
Cool. Tell me about your facilities a little bit. Get onto the tech side since most of our viewers are technically oriented. How up to date are your facilities? And without getting too political about it, because I know some schools have funding issues and some don't. What is your funding like? Is it sufficient, or are you in want or in need of anything?
So we're pretty lucky because we just recently last year went over a complete overhaul of our control room.
Cool.
It was pretty dated. I mean, we still had two TVs and tape decks and things like that. So it needed an overhaul. But it's great now. We run a TriCaster unit out of our control room. So everything's just kind of plugged into there. We have three really nice Panasonic studio quality cameras with prompters. So our equipment's pretty good. We have a editing lab here with 20 iMacs. Those were also replaced last year. Our other ones they were not being updated by Apple anymore. So we did get some new ones. So we're pretty lucky in that aspect is, we have fairly new equipment. Any of the bigger things, like we also have a TriCaster for a sports coverage that has, kind of clunked out on us before. That obviously is something we have to go to the school board and ask for special because that is a big chunk of money and they don't have it laying around. For smaller things, we don't actually get everyday kind of funding from the school. So if we want anything, we would have to go in front of the school board. Now, our department chairs do get supply money that we're able to use for some things. So it's just kind of we have to just be careful about with our equipment and what we're doing with stuff. And because we don't always have all the money we need for everything. But we are very lucky here and we cannot complain for a single thing. So
yeah, for sure.
And obviously some equipment for outside studio stuff. You mentioned sporting events and community events. Can students sort of, check out a camera, check out whatever they need and go on the field to kind of do some field reporting on their own if necessary or they want to?
Yeah, we have 4 cameras we set aside for sports, Panasonic AGCX10s, I believe they are. So we have those set aside that are just used for broadcasting games. But then we also have 4 DSLR cameras. So students can check those out to film whatever they need to. And then I think we also have another Panasonic. No one really seems to check it out, but it's 4K. The kids really like the DSLRs. They're kind of easy to use. So that's what we primarily, they can check it out for 24 hours at a time.
Okay.
They just have to return it.
Cool. Do you have any relationships with the local broadcast stations?
Not really. A lot of
we can work on that.
Yeah, we would love that. A lot of the indie stations have been going through the TV stations at least have been going through a lot of transitions in recent years. A lot of my contacts that I haven't worked with are no longer in the business. So just kind of trying to work our way back into the new people who are in charge of stuff now. So yeah, I have some friends who have come in to talk here and again, and but nothing official.
Sure.
You have other high schools that kind of watch our shows and things like that. I know Westfield High School. Westfield is right next to Carmel, and they watch our shows to, they don't have as they don't have the exact same setup as us, but they sometimes like to bounce ideas off of our shows.
Mhm.
Last year,
Yeah,
we had, I think, two
two schools.
schools come visit us on a sort of field trip to see what our studio's like. Just people who watch our shows regularly. So that was really cool.
Yeah, interaction's great. I'm sure they learned a lot from you, and you probably even learned some from them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So always a fantastic opportunity. Are there any students who are putting their eye on the technical side of things, Brandy?
Yeah, and in fact, last year we had one of our most technical students ever um, go to University of Kentucky. He's
Okay.
double majoring in engineering and broadcast technology. So he won state and national for his motion graphics. We still call him and text him to this day, and they're like, "What was that input?" Like the engineers are like, "Get Coyer. He probably has a spreadsheet somewhere," and he does.
Yeah.
So yeah. This year we actually have in our management roles, we have an equipment manager and then a tech director. And the tech director is kind of in charge of like knowing how all the equipment works, being able to troubleshoot all of our stuff when things go wrong. So we're not constantly calling for help. So we do have some kids who are interested in that side of things for sure.
Cool. Love hearing that. Love hearing that from the SBE side of things. Any famous alumni you can report on that have worked at CHTV?
So more probably local. We have
Okay.
some local people here. Scott Sanders was until just recently working at the ABC, or he's at Wish. So yeah,
Yeah,
he's
Wish
working at a station. Sage Steele went here. I do not know if she had any part of the program for CHTV program. So yeah, just more probably local people as far as in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
We have a few anchors. We have one anchor who lives in Cincinnati who was a CHTV alum.
Okay.
So yeah, just no one huge yet.
Yeah, Alina, you'll learn that broadcasting can take you just about anywhere. You sometimes have to go where the job is. My resume was kind of all over the place. I grew up in Cincinnati, but ended up back in Cleveland, and then I came out to Kansas City. So it's not necessarily take what you can get, but the opportunities come where they come, and a lot of times you might have to step in and make a little bit of a move. But a lot of times I think it can be worth it. So that's great.
Yeah.
Is there anything I haven't covered that you want to mention at this point about CHTV or the program?
Well, some exciting news for us. Literally just an hour and a half ago, we found out that we won a student production award, which put on by the same people who do the Emmys,
Excellent.
for our broadcast. So for our morning show. So we've done awesome this year in our competitions. We won a ton of national awards, some state awards, and yeah, now we just literally found this out. So we are so proud of our students because the work they put in, the hours, students like Alina are here so much and are doing so much. So it's great to see their work is recognized on such a big scale.
Absolutely, and the accolades are always good. Congratulations to
Thank
you
you.
and everyone who was involved in those awards. That's fantastic. So always good to hear.
Yeah.
Anything else? I'm going to talk to one of your colleagues about the radio side of things, get some insight on that, which, I being the radio guy, I want to hear all about that myself. So we'll get into that a little bit later. Going back to I did have a follow-up question on the studios. You mentioned master control, a main studio, an editing lab, and did I hear something else in there, or was that pretty much the scope?
We have our main studio, our control room. We have our Mac lab. We have a secondary studio that we use for interviews.
Oh, okay.
And then that's it. That's it.
Okay.
As facilities. I mean,
All
we
right.
have a big footprint here in our little corner of the school.
And you said how many students are in the school?
54.
Almost 5,500.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's
The
across
biggest.
4 years. Yeah.
We're the biggest school in the state of Indiana. So
Gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
my high school graduating class had 700 something, and that was big
that's
in those
big.
days.
That still is
I
big.
think
But
mine like almost 1,800 or something.
Yeah, it's based on your numbers, 5,500 divided by 4. That's a lot. So it's a
Yeah.
lot more than
Yeah.
I had if it was a straight even distribution. So that's fantastic. Well, I'm glad to see your program's doing well. When was it created? Do you remember? When was all the TV
Yes,
media stuff?
actually, we are celebrating our 47th anniversary. I think it was 1978.
Oh, my. Okay.
Yes.
I, any historical photos from those days?
So we had a student a few years ago who was very interested in that aspect. And if you go to our website, which
Okay.
CHTV Carmel.com, there is an archive, and he found and digitized old shows, old videos. So the oldest stuff we could find is on there. I've only been here 8 years. A lot of stuff just got tossed before I was
Sure.
around. So we also have a little museum down the street, a historical society that we donated a lot of things to. They have kind of a corner of their Carmel High School section that is broadcasting. So some of our stuff's there too.
Well, and it's funny, in media, there are some classic television shows that the original episodes just don't exist.
Right.
No, they ran them once and nobody thought of archiving them, and they'd record over the tapes or toss them or just dump them. So yeah, when you're in the moment, you don't think about preserving the
Right. You
history,
need that tape.
unfortunately.
Right.
So we're in a different age now that storage space is so much cheaper. I mean,
Yeah.
look at our phones; they're loaded with thousands of photos, right? We never delete
Yeah.
anything. So we definitely have a historical archive to ourselves that we never had before. So, well, that's great. I'm glad you were also able to preserve some of the history too. That's
Yeah.
always fun to
Yeah.
go back and look at. Maybe I'll try to pull some of that out as well. Well, this has been fun. It's been good to get to know a little bit about the program and what you're doing and some of the work of the students. And once again, congratulations on your recent award. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Um, Last chance, any final thoughts, any words of wisdom to share?
I don't think so.
I don't
Okay.
think so. It's been a great, I mean, from my perspective, it's been so great, like to have. I'm going to college next year for media, and so I I highly praise CHTV. It's been great to me.
Have you picked the school yet?
Yeah, I'm going to IU, Indiana University.
Of course.
Yeah.
I
Hoosiers.
figured. Yep, there you go. Well, all right. Well, I hope that works out well. I wish you all the best. So, fantastic. Again, thanks to both of you for spending some time with me today. And we'll turn it over to the radio side and get to learn about that side of the program.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you.
And now let's look at the radio side of things. I'm with Dominic James, the station manager and radio advisor for WHJE. Hey, Dominic, how you doing?
I'm great. Thank you very much for having me. Great
Very
to be on
good.
board.
Yeah. So I got to speak with one of your colleagues about the sort of the television side of what's happening at Carmel High School. I'm here to talk with you about the radio side and specifically WHJE. I understand it's a program that's, or a radio station at least, that's been around for quite some time now.
Yeah, it was started in 1963, and it purports to be student run. And to all intents and purposes, the seniors do control most of what's going on. Obviously, myself as the advisor is somewhere in the background there, making sure that the FCC people aren't too upset with what we get up to. But since 1963, we've not got into any bother. So I guess it's been working okay. We have a lot of students taking the course or taking the program. We have this year, about 75 full-time members of staff who do radio every other day as part of their curriculum, an hour and a half a day. And most of those will be broadcasting after school, at weekends, during holidays, vacations, and so on. So it's pretty active.
Great.
Yeah.
So is working at the station, is it fully extracurricular or is there coursework and a tie-in to classwork as well? Or how's that all work?
Yeah, it's all part of the curriculum, which we have a vocational program. So I guess we get state funding to make that happen as well.
Okay.
So it's a 4-year course, and they get a qualification at the end of it, CTE qualification. The in the first year, they have to do quite a it's quite intensive. They have to learn about broadcast law, and they're introduced to the various software programs and to all the hardware as well, and that can be quite overawing for a freshman new into school. But the kids work out whether or not that's something they want to do, and for many of them, probably about 2/3 of the kids who take the course in the first year, it becomes a passion for them, and they carry on doing it for the next 3 years. And about half of those kids actually go on to college to study some kind of broadcasting, some kind of journalism course afterwards. So yeah, it certainly creates excitement.
Sure. So 4-year program, you said, and starting out with kind of the basics, you said the rules and regulations, some of the legal stuff. And obviously by the time they become seniors, you mentioned they're sort of running the show by then.
Yeah.
They're the station leaders, general manager, I assume, program director, et cetera, those kind of tasks.
That's right. Yes. So it's when they go into the second year, the students from different year groups are all put in the same class. So we have seniors, juniors, and sophomores all in the same class. Okay. So they kind of learn the ropes as like apprentices as they kind of move through the program. That is probably most apparent in the sports department. We have a really, really active sports department. We use a Comrex to do our external broadcasting with. So essentially we can go anywhere in the state, in the country, and broadcast anywhere. And we go off all over the place with this. And we've got about 25 students who are dedicated to doing sports broadcasting. Every single one of them, of course, wants to be the play-by-play announcer for the football team. So there is a lot of competition, and that's really, really healthy. So it means that when we need somebody to do the board opping back in the studio, people actually volunteer to do it. I know that in some schools they pay the people to do that. We don't need to do that because it's so competitive to be part of that team. People have to buy into it really with their time. So the sophomores will be allowed to do JV games, and they might have a look at some of the varsity games every now and again. And the juniors and seniors tend to take the bigger games. And we audition people for the football crew, for the basketball crew, and it is very, very competitive. So kids work really, really hard. They know that their prep has to be detailed, outstanding. They have to understand how to use all the equipment. There's a great deal of drive from it, and it's really controlled by the sports managers. They teach the younger kids and they introduce them gradually to what's required, so they're not overawed either, and that's, I think, really, really important.
Right. So you cover football, basketball, other sports at the school as well?
Yeah, soccer, boys and girls, lacrosse, boys and girls, softball, baseball, volleyball. We've done a little bit of swimming. We're going to try some athletics this year as well. If we have got time to do it, we will have a go at it.
I see.
Yeah.
And when there's not sports, music format or talk shows, or what else do you produce?
So rock is our format.
Okay.
So if you listen at any time when there's nobody going live, then you'll find rock music going on. And I guess about half our kids will do a music-based show, and many others will do a talk-based show. It might be news-based, or it might be something to do with a passion. So it might be motor racing, or it might be books, or it might be something to do with video games, whatever they like. And also, we have a number of kids who are not, they're a little bit anxious about going live on air, but of course we have all this amazing equipment, so they can learn how to do podcasts, which of course is another fantastic thing, and it's the rising genre as well, isn't it? So
yeah, and it's radio's first cousin. I mean, it's all the same skills. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, without the stress.
Right. A chance to go back and fix what didn't quite go perfectly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's always the added benefit there.
I think it's that range of subjects. I mean, the fact that kids can choose whatever they want to do really, so long as they can justify what it is and do the proper research. Then I give them a green light and they just get on with it, and they pursue that passion. So
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your own background in broadcasting and how you got involved in the school program.
Yeah. So before I got involved with this, I really had very, very little background in broadcasting. As you can tell from my accent, I'm coming from England.
What? No.
My background is I trained originally as an English teacher,
Okay.
and then moved into teaching theatre and drama, those sorts of things. And in England, we don't have some of the vast theatres that many of the high schools here have. It's really a one-man show. So as the drama teacher, I was both the director and the guy in charge of lights and sound and everything, really. So I had a fairly proficient background in technical things, as well as being able to encourage kids how to perform effectively. I then went on to do some filmmaking as well, so I learned more technical skills in that way. So when I came to Carmel High School, where the radio station is based, I had a range of skills, which, while not broadcasting skills, were kind of relevant to this thing. And for a program like this, it's about trying to keep hold of creative kids and making sure that they both understand what the limitations are, but also that there really are no limitations if you use your brain. So
Sure. Well, the drama connection makes perfect sense. And if anything, it's even, since there's no visual aspect, the visual is created in the listener's mind.
Yeah.
It's that much more dependent on, call it acting, call it presentation, however you want to phrase it.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. And as you said, you picked up enough of the technical background to know something about what's going on as far as the full program creation. That's great. How do students kind of get involved? Or is there any kind of, I don't want to say recruitment, that's not really the right way to pitch it, but do they just kind of naturally come to the station, or is there some sort of a positive effort as they're perhaps looking around and deciding what they want to do?
So on when we have open evenings or open days, when parents come around with their children, we have a large number of students around the studio, encouraging people to come in, introduce a song on the radio station. We show them the podcast room. We try to show them all the equipment in there. If they're interested in sports, we get the sports guys to enthuse them, and those evenings tend to go very well, I would say. More dynamic ways of doing things. We broadcast some of the middle school football games and some of the middle school basketball games. So we actually go across those to the actual schools themselves. So the kids will actually see, the middle school kids will see that we have this radio station to help, get their curiosity going as well. So, and we use a lot of social media as well. And we're connected to the different middle schools and elementary schools and so on. And we will try to feature stories with them where we can, and we post those onto the website as well. So we do work quite hard at trying to get our name out there, because of course young people don't listen to radio anymore. They don't even know what it is. Even the kids who are in radio, they have to be reminded to listen to it in the car, just to pick up what they're supposed to be sounding like. So
we certainly have our work cut out for us on the broadcasting side as far as attracting new young listeners and keeping them involved. So plenty of on mic types and management, programming, production, etc. The technical side, of course, is what the SBE is all about.
Sure.
And as I would imagine, there's some interest, maybe not a whole lot, a percentage of some. Do you have some students that find that the maintenance, the installation, and so on, is of interest to them, and perhaps might pursue that?
There are always some students who like to be involved in the technical stuff. Every year I have a technical manager who's he's not. They don't have really the understanding or actually the access to be able to get
Sure.
behind the various bits and pieces. Because of course, the IT department, they tend to run quite a lot of what goes on in the station, and they don't really want anybody, even myself, really poking around very much.
Right.
But there are a few students who they will be in charge of the low level, the Tascam recorders, for example, and they can make sure that the settings for those are set up. We have a mobile DJ system as well, and we go out maybe at least once a month to DJ events at various community things. So that introduces kids again to how to use a microphone, how leads should be, cables should be used, and so on. Just to trim the speakers and things like that. So they get a fairly basic idea, and some of them are obviously very excited by that sort of stuff. So
Cool.
yeah.
Any alumni gone through the program that have gone on to bigger and better things in broadcasting?
I suppose the one we shout about the most is Steve Inskeep, the NPR main presenter in the morning. He and his brothers were all members of WHJE back in the day. Steve comes back to Carmel fairly often. He's been back to the radio station several times and given talks and so on. He's been, he's very supportive of what we do, which is fantastic. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
So is there anything we haven't covered that you'd like to mention? Or actually, I do have one more question that just popped in my mind. Now, you weren't around when the station started, but for other schools that perhaps are thinking of starting a program like this, any insight, any words of wisdom to share?
I have been talking to local colleagues, actually, who are doing these things. So starting with podcasts, just recording stuff, you can get some really quite effective equipment, quite good quality equipment for not very much money. Actually, so because podcasting has become so popular, there are a number of bits of kit on the market where you can start things off very, very, very easily. And as long as you've got a good mic and a reasonable mixer, then really it's accessible to anybody, really.
Absolutely.
So starting off, a web-based station is again not all that difficult.
Sure.
Most kids can actually kind of work it out. Actually, so I think it's the adults that have more of the problem with it.
Yeah, I have a friend who says that those of us who are adults and more seasoned in this will always speak digital with an accent.
Yeah, it's a very good way of putting it. Yeah.
So. Great. Well, that's fun to hear. So now I'll say anything else I haven't covered that you think is worth mentioning at this point.
Well, I think that we do a good job here at WHJE. We've won many state and national awards for many years. So I think there's a strong tradition of us doing a lot of things right. And if anybody would like to tap into that and talk to me, very, very happy for them to reach out. djames3@ccs.k12.in.us, or you could contact me through our website, whje.com. Maybe you'll be able to put those in some writing as well.
Yep.
Yeah. But very happy to answer any questions and to give some feedback to people. Yeah.
Very good. Well, I appreciate you taking a few minutes today to tell me about the station. I'm glad to hear it's still doing so well. So many years later, gosh, more than 50. Huh.
Yes.
I hate to even think.
Yeah.
It's 60, actually, almost. Wow, quite a tradition. So sounds like they're in good hands.
Well, this thing about tradition is very important. I think that sometimes people think of teenagers not really caring about those sorts of things. They're passionate about it. They're very proud that the station's been, very successful for all those years, and they understand that they've got to do a great job so we don't lose our license. And they're proud of the fact that students have been running this since 1963, and that's part of the great family that we have here. So,
very good, cool.
Okay, well, thanks for calling.
Thanks very much for chatting today, and thanks for being part of the SBE Webxtra.
Very happy to do it. All the best.
Thanks. Thanks for watching the SBE WEBxtra, the SBE chapter of the web from the Society of Broadcast Engineers, the Association for Broadcast and Multimedia Technology Professionals. If you have an idea for a topic or a guest for the SBE WEBxtra, send it to webextra@sbe.org. Once again, I want to thank Brandy, Ostijic, Alina, Kaplan, and Dominic James for joining me today. We learned an awful lot about the Carmel High School broadcasting program. If you hold SBE certification, viewing the SBE WEBxtra qualifies you for 1/2 point in Category G. That's attendance. It's just like attending a local chapter meeting. And thanks again for watching. I'm Chris Scherer, SBE Communications Director. I'll see you next month.